for help. After everything we've seen, there isn't much that rattles either of us anymore. But this one still haunts me.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2016 horror sequel, The Conjuring 2. The film was once again directed by James Wan and it stars Vera Farmiga, Patrick Wilson, Madison Wolfe and Frances O'Connor. Now the film this time focuses on the famous Enfield haunting. Now the film portrays a family in London, and again it's based on so-called real-life events. A family in London living in a council house, the Hodgsons. There is a single mother, Peggy, with how many children has she got? 4 kids, I think it is. And this one particular child, Janet, played by Madison Wolfe, is visited, bullied, harassed by a mean spirit, a mean poltergeist within the home called Bill Wilkins. This draws the attention of the Warrens, who come over from America to try and help. Right. What are my thoughts on The Conjuring 2? Well, other than the fact that, these are cinematic films. I'm sure there are many people that know the history and the facts about the first film, The Parents, that will be able to point out a load of, inconsistencies and untruths, and the fact that much of it was probably, made, more elaborate for the screen, obviously. And very much that is the same, obviously, here. Now, if you do want to know more about the real Enfield haunting, because it's quite a well-known case, obviously, in the UK. Our Most Haunted team has visited it. And there was a really good drama in the UK made. I think it was it 2015? Or it was around that time, and I have watched it and I've reviewed it on the channel as well. The Enfield Haunting, it's called. It's a really fantastic, mini-series type thing, dramatisation. And I'd really do highly recommend it if you want a more grounded approach to telling this story. If you want a more cinematic approach to telling this story, then you can't go wrong with this. I actually think, as a film, this is fabulous. Very, very good and very, very effective. So obviously, they elaborate here on the Enfield haunting story, and they include the now pretty famous nun, Valek. So we've got Valek here, and we've also got the Crooked Man. Now, up until recently, the Crooked Man was going to be getting his own film spin-off. But I think fairly recently, even James Wan has announced that that's not happening anymore, even though the Conjuring Universe is continuing and there are more in the pipeline. My understanding is there isn't going to be a Crooked Man spin-off, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. Because I think the addition of the Crooked Man in this film, other than there is a couple of effective scares. I think they overused the Crooked Man, and it didn't add much to the film. I quite like the addition of Valek, the evil nun here. It is effective. Now, the nun film somewhat wasn't particularly well received. We know that, and kind of maybe diluted the character a little bit, and we are getting a sequel to the nun. So when you consider what's come after this film, it doesn't feel just as scary, Valek, but at the time I thought it was really effective, and I think James Wan crafted some very, very effective scares using Valek as this demonic spirit sort of thing. It was pretty well done. Now, Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, once again, I think do a fantastic job as the Warrens. They're just so great. Their on-screen chemistry is absolutely fantastic. It's undeniable how the chemistry just works for these two on screen. You believe that they're a couple. You believe that they're married. You believe how committed they are. And it just comes across so well on screen. And they're brilliant again here. As is, I have to say, the majority of the people playing like the Hodgson family members, but especially Frances O'Connor playing the mother, Peggy. And Madison Wolfe, who played Janet, who I just thought was outstanding, an incredible performance by that young actress at the time. Really, really good, very, very impressive. And I think the film works overall, other than a few, glossy scares. I think when you consider like that, the first one was like an old-fashioned, haunted house story that I thought they just did brilliantly. This one, I think, they kind of twisted the original story with this Bill Wilkins and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, to add in the Crooked Man and Valak, the nun sort of thing. And it kind of, I think, takes away a little bit from the original story. To say nothing of the fact that the Warrens, in actual fact, had very little to do with this case. If you actually research it, even though they did investigate it, they had very little involvement in this case at all. And they certainly weren't there for the length of time that this film portrays. If they did investigate, it was only very, very briefly. In actual fact, the other characters that you see in this film, like Maurice Grosse and people like that, they were far more heavily involved in this case, not the Warrens. But as I've said, this is a film. It's not meant to be factually correct. It's meant to be entertaining. If they made it factually correct, then it wouldn't be as entertaining, because the majority of these things didn't happen the way that this film portrays it. But it's a fascinating case, the Enfield case. The some of the scenes in it, you think, oh, that didn't happen. But in actual fact, they did. The scene where the police turn up to investigate after they first ring the police and the chair moves, that actually happened. There's a police report out there where the police did say that they thought they witnessed it. There are members of film crews that went in things were thrown at them like Lego bricks and things like that, and they can't explain it. Pictures of the family levitating, everything like that. So there's lots of documented evidence to suggest that there was a genuine haunting there. But there's also evidence to suggest it was a hoax as well. So regardless of what you think about it, as a film, this really works. It's effective. It's got some really good crafted scares, and it's got a fantastic conclusion to the film, a really high point. And I think it is a worthy successor to the first film. I really do enjoy The Conjuring 2. So yeah, as I've said, I'm gonna revisit all the Conjuring films. I've done The Conjuring now, Conjuring 2. I've already reviewed last year The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, so I'm not going to review that. So I will likely go on to the Annabelle films next. So I'm not sure when I'll get a chance to watch them and get the reviews up, but I will certainly do it. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back with more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.